Okay, let's dive into this dish. Greek truffle chicken with mushroom pesto potatoes. I mean, that title alone, it really sparks the imagination, doesn't it? Kind of a collision of flavors.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it suggests going from that familiar Mediterranean vibe to something, well, it's something much more luxurious, kind of unexpected.
Exactly. So, picture this. You've got tender grilled chicken, right? It's infused with that bright lemon linging and this nice aromatic herbs, oregano, thyme.
Mm-hmm.
And next to it, golden potatoes, Yukon Golds, all crispy-edged, smelling of roasted rosemary and garlic. Comforting.
Yeah, classic combo.
But then comes this like decadent wave of creamy mushroom pesto, and it's got that unmistakable earthy truffle thing going on. It's like a Greek taverna suddenly got really fancy.
Right. It's like it decided to host a very elegant, slightly mischievous guest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's really interesting here, I think, is how it takes these basic Mediterranean ingredients, things you'd find, in a simple Greek kitchen.
Right, the building blocks.
Exactly. And it just adds this surprising layer of sophistication, that truffle, the creamy pesto. It really makes you think about how just one well-chosen ingredient can kind of redefine the whole experience.
It really does. So, okay, our mission for this deep dive is basically to take this whole thing apart, understand what each piece is doing, and more importantly, how they all work together to create this really balanced and elevated result. So let's start with the chicken. It says marinated and grilled slices. What's the flavor base there?
Well, the marinade itself is built on a pretty classic Mediterranean idea. Olive oil is the base, carries those flavors, keeps the chicken moist.
Okay.
And it uses 3 minced garlic cloves for just 2 chicken breasts. That's a pretty bold aromatic statement right there.
Definitely leaning into the garlic.
Yeah.
Pungent. And then a tablespoon of lemon juice. You can almost taste that brightness, can't you? That lift.
Oh, absolutely. That acidity from the lemon, it doesn't just add flavor, it also starts tenderizing the chicken a bit. And then you've got a tablespoon of fresh chopped oregano super Greek, that flavor, plus have a teaspoon of dried thyme for a deeper, slightly peppery note. And salt and pepper, obviously. Essential. Got to amplify everything else.
Okay, so it sounds like a marinade designed to give the chicken this really vibrant, almost sun-drenched flavor. Now, it specifically mentions slicing the chicken before marinating and grilling. Why do that? What's the impact?
Well, slicing it first increases the surface area.
Okay.
So the marinade flavors get in faster and more evenly. Plus, thinner pieces cook quicker on the grill.
Right, less chance of drying out.
Exactly. Less risk of dry edges while the inside cooks through. It's just a smart way to get maximum flavor and the best texture.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, efficiency and flavor delivery. Okay, next up. The roasted rosemary garlic potatoes, they sound like the comforting anchor of the whole dish.
They definitely provide that grounding element, yeah. And the prep is, again, pretty straightforward. It's about boosting the natural flavor of those Yukon Golds.
So cutting them into 1-inch cubes or wedges, that's for crispiness.
Yeah, plenty of surface area to get nice and crisp when they roast.
And olive oil again. It's interesting how that keeps popping up, isn't it?
It is. Olive oil is doing a few jobs here. It adds its own subtle flavor, sure, but it also helps conduct the heat for roasting, helps get that crispy outside.
Got it.
Then you toss them with 2 minced garlic cloves and a teaspoon of fresh chopped rosemary, another layer of aromatic flavor. Rosemary and potatoes, I mean, that's just a classic pairing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. That piney scent.
And salt and pepper again, of course, to season.
So we're seeing garlic used consistently, but the rosemary gives the potatoes their own distinct personality. And roasting them hot 425 Fahrenheit for 20-25 minutes. Flipping halfway. What's the key to that timing and temp?
That high heat is really crucial. It evaporates moisture quickly from the surface.
Which means browning.
Exactly. Promotes browning, develops that crispy crust everyone loves. And that 20-25 minute window with the flip, it's about finding the balance. Golden brown outside, but not dried out. Still fluffy and tender inside. And while they're roasting, those rosemary and garlic smells just, soak right in. They become incredibly fragrant.
The combination of simple stuff and the right technique sounds fantastic. Okay, now we get to what feels like the star player, maybe, the truffle-infused creamy mushroom pesto sauce. Let's unpack this one. What makes it so special?
Right. This is where the dish really takes a turn towards something more indulgent. The base is a good amount of criminy mushrooms, 8 ounces finely chopped.
Okay.
You saute those in olive oil with, guess what, 2 more cloves of minced garlic.
Garlic again. It really ties it all together, doesn't it?
It seems to be the thread, yeah.
So cooking the mushrooms until they release their liquid. Why is that step so important?
That's key for flavor concentration. As the water cooks off, the mushroom solids get more intense. You end up with a much richer, more umami-packed base for the pesto. It takes maybe 5 to 7 minutes usually.
So you're basically making a really concentrated mushroom flavor base, and then the pesto stuff comes in.
Exactly. You take that mushroom mixture and blend it with a 1/4 cup of fresh basil leaves.
Yeah.
That adds the bright herbaceous note.
Okay.
Then a 1/4 cup of heavy cream for richness, that velvety texture, plus 2 tablespoons of grated Parmesan, salty, nutty, more umami. And finally, the defining touch, 1 teaspoon of truffle oil.
Ah, the truffle oil. The magic ingredient that just lifts the whole thing.
Pretty much.
And then you blend it all until it's smooth and creamy.
Yep. Blending emulsifies it all, creates this really luxurious, smooth sauce where everything just melds together, the earthy mushrooms, the fresh basil, the rich cream and cheese, and that unmistakable truffle aroma. It all just works.
Wow. It sounds like this pesto is doing a lot more than just being a sauce. It's like a flavor amplifier. Takes the earthy mushrooms, adds richness, adds that fancy truffle scent. It's definitely not your standard basil pesto.
Not at all. I mean, basil's there, but it's more in the background, you know. It lets those deeper, savory notes, mushroom, Parmesan, especially the truffle, really shine. And the cream gives it that lovely texture, makes it coat everything so nicely.
Okay, so we've looked at the chicken, the potatoes, the sauce individually. How does it all come together on the plate? What's the final experience like?
The assembly is kept pretty simple, actually, which I think is smart. Lets the flavors do the talking. Usually you put the roasted potatoes down first, like a base.
Right.
Then arrange the grilled chicken slices on top.
Yeah.
And then you generously drizzle that truffle mushroom pesto over everything. Let it kind of cascade down.
I can almost see it. The rustic potatoes, the bright chicken, and then that glossy, luxurious sauce kind of blanketing it all. Flavor-wise, it sounds like a really interesting mix.
It is.
You've got the bright, lemony, herby chicken, contrasting with the deep, earthy mushrooms and that hint of truffle richness, all grounded by those savory potatoes.
Absolutely. And don't forget the textures. That's a big part of it, too. You've got the tender chicken, the crispy then soft potatoes, and that smooth, velvety sauce. That combination really adds another layer of satisfaction, doesn't it?
It really does. It sounds like a dish that's both comforting because the elements are familiar, but also exciting because of that truffle twist. The description we have mentions it being good for a special occasion or even just a fancy night in. It feels elevated, but maybe not super complicated to make.
I think that's a really key point. It shows how just choosing ingredients thoughtfully, adding a touch of creativity, can turn familiar things into something that feels special, memorable. That truffle oil especially adds that touch of luxury without needing, hours of complex technique.
So if we had to boil down the essence of this Greek truffle chicken with mushroom pesto potatoes, what's the main takeaway?
I think the fundamental thing is how adding one strategic, luxurious element, in this case, the truffle oil, can elevate a dish that's built on really simple, good quality Mediterranean basics.
Like the lemon, garlic, herbs, potatoes.
Exactly. It elevates it into something sophisticated and really memorable. It really highlights the power of contrast and layering flavors thoughtfully.
That's a great point. It's not just about adding something expensive, it's how it works with the other flavors, how it enhances them. Thinking about that, what other simple dishes, maybe everyday dishes, do you think could get a similar boost? Like with a surprising touch of luxury or a really creative sauce?
Oh, that really opens up possibilities, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just start thinking. I mean, maybe simple pan-seared scallops, but with a bright saffron and orange sauce.
Ooh, nice.
Or even just like roasted asparagus, but you serve it with a smoky romesco sauce that has a little kick of chili. It encourages you to play around, explore different combinations, see what happens when you add one unexpected thing.
It totally does. It makes you look at your own cooking differently, doesn't it? Like, how can I add that little twist, that touch of sophistication? So the core message here seems to be about that potent mix of simplicity and strategic boldness.
Yeah, I think so.
Starting with familiar, comforting flavors, but then introducing one thoughtful, maybe luxurious element to create something genuinely special and really flavorful.
Precisely. It kind of proves you don't always need a million exotic ingredients or super complex methods to make a dish feel both comforting and, well, remarkably elegant. Sometimes it's just about finding that one right transformative element and understanding how it fits, how it harmonizes to make something new.